Sorry, that's very loud.
We know the speakers work, so.
So it is Monday, June 9th at 7:01, and as Chairman, I will call the meeting to order for the town of Hebron and the Douglas Library Board of Trustees. This is a regular meeting scheduled for Monday nights on June 9th. And with that, we'll start by using the Pledge of Allegiance. Just after you get seated.
Shouldn't have sat down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Right.
So the next item on the agenda are public comments. Do we have anybody in Zoom land that's joined us who would like to comment? If so, just please indicate that.
Oh, we have Donna who will, has
Speak
her own
later.
thing on, and we have our board clerk.
Okay.
Do we have to do attendance, verbal attendance?
I'll let Catherine know who's here.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that.
I'm actually making notes right now, so.
All right. Excellent. So not hearing any public comment, we'll move on to the reports, beginning with the secretary's report. And that would be the minutes, or is the secretary?
Yeah, so
Right.
we have the minutes from the May 12th meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the May 12th meeting. So make a motion to, or can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 12th meeting?
So moved.
You weren't here, okay.
Peter,
So moved.
Peter
All right.
Castrella has seconded Mick Clifton's motion, or are you moving?
I'm moving
You're
the
making a
acceptance
motion. Okay,
as
thank you.
submitted.
All right, I need a second to the
I'll second it.
supporter, second stop.
I have a question.
Discussion.
On one of the pages, I don't have it in front of me now, I read it earlier. It says that the trustees and the friends are not the same, but they're connected. It should have said the trustees and the association, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't have the,
Since the friends are not even,
can I borrow this?
Yes.
I read it and I didn't see that. Let me see if I can. That's that.
it's where, Kirk, where you want the new friends group. It's in that,
Yep.
in that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. All right, I'll make a note.
should I make a new, Call for-
I think it makes sense, though. The board of trustees and the friends group are separate entities, but are supportive of each other, which
Yes.
is what.
Yeah, I
That,
think that
that
was
is what
okay.
the intent is. And
You
Yeah.
think that was correct as friends?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't talk about
Well-
the association last month.
the friends don't exist, but going into the future, the idea was that we should be supportive of each other. In fact, there should be much better relationships and contact, in my opinion, on that matter. For example, before that group forms, I would urge this board to meet with their leadership for that once they've got themselves organized. And we would help them to steer them in the direction to do the right things, to make sure that they don't have any problems with the town or any problems in general. So, yes, I think that does clearly state that. So, are you okay with that, Amy? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you, I wasn't at the meeting, so.
Okay.
oh, yeah, that was what we talked
Right.
about, yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little more later as well. So with that said, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Anybody, do you have anybody on Zoom that's with us?
No,
Okay.
I abstained.
The motion is
Dale,
unanimous.
oh, wait,
Okay.
we have one abstention.
I don't believe if it's unanimous. we
I
have
wrote
to
it down, Dale.
individually-
I'll make sure Catherine knows.
individually
As long as the clerk knows.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
and I'll make sure she
Court
knows.
knows that, so the motion was passed. Okay. So that is the approval of the minutes for the May 25th meeting. Donna, thank you for joining us. Do you have anything you'd like to report?
Hi, everyone.
Here.
Can,
Ask her how
Can you
many
hear me?
days she has left.
Where's she going?
can you hear me?
Donna, we're not able to hear you.
About now.
No, I still can't hear you, Donna.
Oh,
That's
Hang
weird.
on.
She can't see us, so she can't tell.
I
I just
can
told her.
see you. I can hear you.
Let me.
Can anyone look Reed? Because she is still talking.
No,
I feel bad she's going through the whole report. Does
no.
any-
I mean, I told her. She knows that we can't hear her. I just don't know why we can't hear her.
Does anybody have a cell phone that she could call and we could put it on speaker? And
Oh,
that way
yeah,
we
it
can hear?
shows that she just needs to unmute
Oh
herself.
yeah, Donna, it's
Oh.
showing you as muted. There we
Oh.
go.
It's like, yeah, it's
No, and
still
we still
not.
can't hear you.
I'll write in the chat.
Let me.
she can call my phone if she wants.
I have an iPad, but I'm not sure if it'll take a call.
Can she hear us though, Drusilla?
Yeah, she can hear us.
Oh, tell her to call my phone.
Donna, Sue says if you want to call her cell phone. Yep, she's got her phone in her hand.
See, you can't see her. That's why I sit here.
I can see her.
You can, but not everyone.
She's right there. I can kind of.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know why you can't hear me, but anyway. So I'll just
Can you
make
hear
it
that, Meg?
brief. I'm gonna turn my microphone off on my phone because I'm getting a wicked echo. I'll just report on a couple of things that we, I think everybody knows we passed a budget. We're moving ahead with, finishing up a lot of the ARPA projects. We will start to plan for the New Year's CIP. I'm working on computer replacements for the public computers at the library because those are starting to reach their end of support because a lot of them are Windows 10 and those will no longer be supported, I think in October-ish. So we're going to look to replace, I think a dozen computers between adult public computers, children public computers, and then a couple of the catalog computers. So working on that, and I think that's about it for now, unless anybody has any questions.
Donna, are the staff computers up to speed in terms of their Windows?
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
They have new computers. They got new computers last year.
A couple of the staff workstations are on the list to be replaced, but the full timers computers are all fine.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for joining us. Sorry that we had to put you through a little extra exercise to get here, but thank you for being flexible.
It's okay. I can hear you guys loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Thank
for
you.
that. Okay, I'm going to defer my report as chairperson until we get into what I'll call just other business. It'll be more questions of follow-up to see where things stand since we met last.
But it's new business. No,
Not really.
it's just,
no.
okay.
Yeah, but it's not really a report. It's more just to kind of continue the discussion.
But it's old business
Yeah.
continue.
We got a chance to digest some of this for, last month, and maybe some people come up with some additional ideas or some questions or whatever. So I'll defer that and move on to the library director's report.
I think everything I had was in the report that I sent out. It seems like it was a really quiet month because there was my short list of highlights was shorter. It was just that we spent a lot of time doing, like, the Evergreen Conference took 3 days out of the calendar. So, but yeah, so we're winding up the year, basically. Getting our last purchases in before the end of June, making sure that all of our contracts for the coming year that we're going to renew are in good shape, and that kind of thing. So.
Great. Does anybody have questions?
I do. where it says the cost for the streaming audio and video services.
Yep.
It says patrons don't check out more than 100 or so items on Hoopla each month.
Yes, it's a very low circulation.
How come every time I go to check out stuff, we've
So the
already
way
reached our
that
daily limit?
the way that Hoopla works, so it's I give them a dollar amount that we're willing to spend each
Right,
month.
right.
Each time somebody checks something out, it takes money out of our account.
Correct.
It now costs us for some items $4 or $5 at checkout. So it does not take very long for us to meet our daily maximum. And it's the same 25 or 30 people checking things out. And so we're spending hundreds of dollars a month on this small group of people. And a lot of the things that are in Hoopla are actually available through like Overdrive. It's just that they go that way. But the cost per circulation is very high. So it makes more sense to allocate that funding to something that more people can use for the same dollar amount.
Does that answer your
So,
question?
yeah, it does, but, I mean, to me, the Libby, I never find anything on there that I want. I usually end up, I use Hoopla a lot. So,
Are you talking about adding a different
I'll have
service,
to
a
put
new
in my
service?
request for audiobooks for you to purchase here.
There you go. So the thing is that if I buy, so audiobooks are extremely expensive for
I
us.
know.
But if I buy an audiobook through Overdrive, even though it is incredibly expensive, it actually works out to be cheaper per circulation than Hoopla does.
Okay.
So if I take that money and can reallocate it to buying our own copies of some things,
Okay,
that will end up, it's still going to cost hundreds of dollars a month, but at least more people can access it.
okay.
So that's my plan. Right now, I don't have the money to do that because we've already put all this money. And the way it works is we don't get a monthly invoice. We give them a dollar amount at the beginning of the year. They send me an
Right,
invoice for the year. So that money is locked up and gone. Ebooks and audiobooks and streaming in general for libraries are extremely expensive and not necessarily the most efficient things in the world. The state of Connecticut did just pass a bill, which calls for fairness in ebook pricing, which means that, so right now, if you were to buy an ebook or an audiobook, it might cost you $5 or $10, and it'll cost me 10 times that. And you can listen to that as many times as you want, but I can only check it out to 25 people. And after that, I have to buy another copy. And that's the way it works nationwide. So
Wow.
Connecticut just passed a bill that says that they can't do that they need to treat libraries the same as they do other consumers. The hitch is that bill doesn't kick in until a certain number of other states have passed the same kind of legislation, but there are a number of states that have legislation in process.
Okay.
So we're hoping that in the next year or so, those prices will start to come down. Yes, we were all very excited about that ebook bill passing. It was a big deal.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So I got a question concerning use of the building.
Yes.
In your report. So this lengthy questionnaire went out to staff, town staff,
To town department heads.
town department head,
Yes.
and you're accumulating whatever they're sending in.
That's from last month. Yes. So the town department heads were each sent a building study, and asked us a lot of questions about how is your building used? Are your spaces adequate? What condition is the building in? Does the HVAC work? How's the, all kinds of questions like that. And so I answered, our HVAC's fine unless it gets really humid and then you've got the heat on in part of the building and the cold in the other. How are your bathrooms? That was one of the questions. Are your bathrooms adequate for use? So the town building committee sent that out. So I answered all of their questions about, our facilities. Parking is more than adequate. The roof doesn't leak because we just got it replaced, that kind of thing.
So the questionnaire was from the town building committee
Yes.
to department heads.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Thank you.
So all of us who have a building got this questionnaire. And the one thing that, as I said last month, the one thing that I pointed out was that this building was built, the plans were laid in the late 90s. So the way that libraries are used now is very different from the way they were used 25, 30 years ago. So those buildings this building does not necessarily allow for like the way that computers are used now. We don't have enough outlets, for example.
I'm just gonna add when she's done.
So I pointed out that the committee might need to consider the way that libraries are used now to allow for future use.
Well, the town building committee was very supportive and active
Mhm.
when we went through all of the renovations that we went through these last few
Boy,
years.
they sure were.
Yeah, they were great, and they like I said, I think they're trying very hard to look at what the future needs for the town are in terms of buildings. So I looked at, I want to give them the information they need.
Would you keep me in the loop on that
Mhm.
correspondence, please?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since I sent it in last month,
Okay.
and I don't know what their plans are.
Donna, I'm
Yeah,
pointing at
Donna.
your phone, but go ahead.
So I can just fill in a little bit there. So that questionnaire was one of the final parts of the overall facility study that we've done for all of the town buildings. So a few years ago, we contracted with a company called Bureau Veritas, and they've been conducting a facility study for us. They've been out a few times to survey and assess all of the town buildings. They have put reports together that review the condition of the buildings, their mechanicals, made recommendations and helped us with budgeting for improvements that are needed. We have like immediate needs, a couple years out, and then 10 years out and 20 years out. So this is the last part of it to do like like Drusilla said, each department head or building manager did report, how the building works for them and what they see are as deficiencies or needs. So this is just one of the last parts of the overall facility study.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Donna. Meg or Gail or Emily, do you have a question?
Nope.
That's a topic. Okay, so I have just one small question. You had reported that the budget was at about 5% left, and is that going to be adequate to be able to go in?
Yeah, we'll be fine for the
Budget.
last month. Yep. We've gotten most of so the thing with our budget is there's a lot of contracts that we pay like for the year at the beginning of the fiscal year. So our budget drops pretty sharply at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then over the winter, when our demand for utilities is really high, it drops again really sharply because those are big ticket items. But the last month of the year we know that when the end of the year is, so we've kind of planned accordingly. So really the only thing we have left for this month is we have our book order. We put in our last custodial supply order the end of May, so that's taken care of. So it'll be small things, but the book order's the biggest.
Good. Oh, job well done. Okay, I think that concludes our reports. So we'll move on to old business, and that would be the election of the officer spot for the vice chair. Have anyone who's interested in helping with that position?
I think Peter should.
I can only add that it would be my expectation that the only time the vice chair would be needed would be in an event that I couldn't make a meeting, and you certainly have the qualities to run a great meeting. So would you help in that limited capacity as vice chair? By promise, that's all you have to do.
I will help, but I am not interested in serving as vice chair, but I will certainly help.
Okay.
Would we be able to, because we'll have the position that's open, that was vacated by Gail, has the Board
Or
of
by Pat,
Selectmen, or
yeah.
by Pat, sorry, has the Board of Selectmen officially sent word to both parties?
Yeah,
Has-
that email went out last week, I believe. So
Okay.
the selectmen the last selectmen's meeting, the selectmen,
So we're down to,
no, we're down pat. So just the one.
so Gail is still.
Yes,
hanging on.
technically Gail is still on the board. Although I do not know how she's doing, just to, have not heard.
Right.
But yeah, so the selectmen officially acknowledged Pat's resignation and alerted the two parties that
Now, what
opening.
was she registered as?
I don't remember.
She was a town representative.
But yeah, but the
Right,
political
so was she
parties,
registered
Oh,
Republican
I
or
see.
Democrat?
Yeah.
I don't know which party she was.
Because that, if we were looking for replacements, we'd have to look in that
Mhm.
direction. Morabo, no, what's the name? Mark Morabo. Megson. You remember, any of you know, what was her name, Megson?
I remember Harry,
No.
His wife.
Blacks.
Mrs.
Blacks.
Megson.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, she has a daughter who had told me that she would be interested in serving, but I don't know what she's registered as.
Mhm.
Right. Do people, does it have, is there, I forget, is there need to be a certain balance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the parties have to be balanced, and then there have to be a certain number that are association representatives and
Right.
a certain number that aren't. So this needs to be a non-association position.
Non-association. Okay.
And I think you have, what do you have, 90 days to replace and then it is done differently?
I don't remember, but I would say if anyone knows of anyone who might be interested, the thing to do is to have them call over to town hall and let, I would say Dory would know who they should speak to.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, I would say they should call the town, the RTC or the DTC.
Yeah, but Dory would know for sure how the process works, which I don't off the top of my
Right, but
head.
I'm just saying, once we find out what a person is registered as, might as well go right through the town chair.
Donna, do you have anything to add to this discussion? You're good?
She's she's calling again.
Oh.
While she's dialing in, I was just going to
Oh.
say,
Sarah Blacks.
Okay.
Hang on,
No,
she's
I'm
calling.
sorry. I keep hanging up because when I cannot hear you guys on my phone, but anyway, it was Black's Megson who was the trustee years ago, Harry's wife, but they have a daughter, Sarah, and I don't know if she's still in town, if she is around, but then they have a daughter-in-law who is Barabalt. So it may be Ann Barabalt. I'm not sure.
She's the
But
one I'm
anyway,
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Pat
Okay.
Ayers was a U.
She lives right off Kinney or right on Kinney Road.
Ann Barabalt lives at the end of Kinney Road in the old farm.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Donna, a quick question for you on the association side of it. While Priscilla indicated this is a non-association position, when I was elected to come on this board from the association, there was also interest expressed from Beth Fitzgerald. Would she qualify under the association and be not allowed because she's a member, or because she's part of the Republican or Democrat Party, whatever it is? Would she come in under that if she's interested?
She could do either one.
I'm really having trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay.
I'm only hearing every few words.
All right.
The audio's not good.
All right, so Beth Fitzgerald expressed interest when I was elected to come to this board from the association. And I wonder if she would not be interested in still doing that, but I'm not sure if she would come in as, it sounded like this had to be a non-association position filled. And perhaps if she's made aware of it, then she could choose to come in under whatever the party is that she's the registrar for. Is that possible?
Well, since she's the Democratic Register of Voters, she could switch her allegiance and do whatever.
Oh, Beth Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
what is the political.
She had
Because
that's
if
it.
you remember,
Because
she
it's
had-
you, it could be.
has to be
It could
balanced.
I know, but what is
be
it now?
either
I don't know.
party as long as the
I don't know
minority
what that was.
representation
Yeah,
is
that's the town.
there. And
the
I
select
I
board
don't know that
has
Beth
that.
ever joined, officially joined.
Oh, the association, okay.
So that is a possibility if
Okay.
she's still interested. But the way that it works is that we do notify the political parties, and it's not as, stringent as with elected officials where we don't necessarily need an endorsement. It's basically the people that are
Oh,
interested
we've
in
lost you
serving
again,
contact the
Donna.
town manager's office, and then I let them know.
Is your-
I just wondered.
Is she
Can't
still
hear me?
I
connected?
didn't
Oh,
know.
everyone-
Now I
Given-
can, but.
Okay, so then we let them know that if they're interested in serving, they should attend at least one meeting and talk with the staff person and the chairman to understand what the roles and responsibilities and what the commit would be. And then to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen, and then we would put it on the agenda.
Okay,
But it's not as strict as an elected position where there's, you need the political party endorsement. That's not required for this.
okay.
But,
Thank you for adding that.
I just
Right,
wanted
no,
to
sorry.
also ask, what is I would have to look in my big binder for the Board of Trustees, but at what point do we look into replacing Gail? Just because she hasn't been able to come to meetings, like it's been a while since she's been able to come. And if we're having trouble finding someone to be vice chair, potentially getting 2 new members, one of those new members might be open to being vice chair.
Okay.
So
Does she respond to meetings at all?
mm-mm.
Therefore, her attendance is zilch.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know what the bylaws say. I'd have to pull those out
yeah.
and look.
Well, we know that if she hasn't attended in a couple of years, that's.
Well, how about we defer this till the next
Yeah, let's
meeting?
yeah,
We'll
look
look into
We'll
what
have
the
answer to what
procedure
Yeah.
is.
what
All
the
of the above.
procedure is, if she's not interested in serving.
right,
Okay,
She wouldn't want to give it up.
No,
I know that.
right. It's just a matter of I think it makes it harder for the board to run at full
good
capacity.
quorum, yeah.
And I wonder if she tunes into the meetings,
She's not on
no,
there,
she's
so.
not on. She doesn't tune into
unless she
Zoom.
does it my way, in which case you wouldn't know.
Calling in. I would know somebody had called in though.
Oh,
Like
you
I
would?
can, oh yeah, I can
Okay,
see
all
that
right.
somebody has called in. So no.
Okay, any other comments on this subject? We'll, it sounds like the pleasure of the board at this point is to defer this action for the next meeting. Do we need a motion to do that, or is that just?
No.
Okay,
No,
we
it's
can
just
note.
how it works.
Okay,
All right.
so we'll move on to new business. Anybody have anything that they'd like to offer up for new business?
I have a couple.
So many-
First one, we haven't done it, we did it in the past and we haven't done it in a couple of years. And I'm not making aspersions, but we haven't evaluated the director in a while. We haven't done any of that, which we used to do.
I don't know if that would be our,
It
It
Responsibility.
used
would
to be an
be,
annual,
we'd need
and
probably
we did
input,
it, yeah.
but I would imagine that the town
What we-
manager.
what we did-
yeah, it's the town manager evaluates department heads and that,
Correct.
I had a
but
six-
Because we're a hybrid.
yeah, but I had a
board,
6-month when I came off of probation and I
I
have not had one
understand.
since.
I
Okay.
understand, but in the past,
Mhm.
we did annually evaluate the library director.
And then it
It's
went through.
forwarded to the town manager,
Okay, that makes sense.
and he can, take our yays, nays into consideration if he wants, but at least he has it.
Mhm.
And then we would sit with the town manager and the
Correct.
director of the
And the
library
director, yes.
and review his or her.
Yes.
Because Peter, when you were chair, you, and Sue probably also,
Yeah.
you took all the totals, took everyone's individual
Yeah.
and then met with Andy.
Yep.
Okay,
Donna says, hang on. Since this is a governing board, it was a board representative and the town manager did the evaluation. But like I said, there has not been a town evaluation since I've started.
How long ago was that now?
It's a year and a half, a little over a year and a half.
Okay.
So I don't know what the schedule or the plan for that
It should
is.
fall under the auspices of the town, not the library board of trustees.
Yes, the
So
town
whatever the town
employee.
policy is what
Yep.
it directs it.
Donna, if you can hear me, is there a time period when, like, the heads of various different government offices or government departments are reviewed so that we're not out of sync doing it now, or we get into sync by finding the right spot to have completed that task?
She's
Can you hear me?
typing. Yeah, she can hear you.
I can't tell if she's.
She's
talking to
typing.
you.
Yeah, she can hear us.
Oh,
She can hear.
because.
She just can't
okay.
talk.
She said, yeah.
So Donna is going to check with Andy
Okay,
to see, but it's a town-wide process, so all evaluations are done at the same time. So it's,
And that's how it used to be.
but so Donna is going to check with Andy about that.
so once again, I'll ask that this subject be added to the next month's agenda.
Sure.
And would we put that as a separate, how about we put that as a separate category?
Wouldn't that just be old business to update on
Yeah,
what the
or
timeline is?
business or other business.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody else have anything else? Do you have something you want to add?
I had a second one. I'm wondering about a program this summer, and someone mentioned it to me that prior to selecting Larry as the poet laureate, we had about 3 different meetings. I shouldn't say meetings, gatherings, where people came into the library and we chatted about poetry, whatever. And whoever it was, oh, I know who it was, Mary Rose Mead, of course. And she mentioned that might be nice to do again. So,
So I will say that Lita, our children's librarian, had reached out to Larry Zimmerman about doing a poetry program with the kids and did not receive a response.
how did she reach out to him?
Both email and a phone call.
Oh, it was both. Well, I should give him a call.
And did not, because we wanted to do something for National Poetry Month, which is earlier in the spring. And we actually had a plan. We were going to have all the kids write a poem about the library, and we were going to make Larry write one too.
Well, I remember you talking about that.
And like I said, we did not receive a response from him. So obviously we're not able to do that.
Well, we COVID and everything screwed that up and it delayed the appointment for much too long. And in the interim, Larry has aged.
Do you want to take that task on to reach out to him and see if?
I'll give him a call.
All right, could we add it under old business, a follow-up, just to see if there's any interest in the summer poetry program?
When was he appointed? That was a 3-year position, right?
When was he appointed?
Yeah.
Last year.
Last year? Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
it was last year.
But I don't know, has it been a full year? I don't think so.
No.
Because it was
not
summertime.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll make sure as a reminder that we have that on the agenda for next month. Okay, find out how you made out.
There are certain
Okay.
things he's required
That it?
to do.
What?
There's certain things he's required to do.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay,
So don't think you're pushing the wrong buttons.
okay. No, let's see. Hands up?
Yep.
Okay. Are you all set?
Yeah, I just have 2 items.
Okay, good. Well, we have added them both to next meeting. So thank you for your contribution. Anybody else with any new business items? Okay, and we'll move on, hearing none, we'll move on to other business. I'm going to take this to open because I think these items still need more work. Obviously, the follow-up to how the progress is moving, if at all, towards a replacement for a group that would do the Friends or the Boosters or whatever we're going to call them.
So I reached out to 2 people in May who'd been interested, and it's partially a matter of scheduling, but we are in the process of trying to get. So it needs to not come from us directly, like it needs to be a community movement. And so it's just I can't say, let's have a meeting and start a new Friends. Like that is not the role
You
of the
did
library.
say back at the time that you had a list of. a lot of
Yes, so we
people.
have some people, so I've reached out to a couple of them to ask if they would kind of get the ball rolling.
Like coordinate.
Yes,
the gathering to-
but like I said, it has to come from the community. This is not something that the library director
Now,
can start.
What's the sequence? When do we go for a 501c3?
Well, we've got to have a group interested. They
Right,
have
and
to
then they
set
can-
officers.
How
and
many people?
They just have to have officers.
So half a dozen would cover.
And
it.
then they can go through the 501c3 process, but you have to have officers in place in order to do the 501c3
Right, you
paperwork.
have to have, like,
Um,
your- you
but-
have to have, like, your
So I
mission
have
and-
reached out to some people to ask if they would kind of get the ball rolling, but as I said, it needs to come from outside the library. It's not appropriate for the library or for me to be.
So any of us, however, not you, but any of us.
If a board
probably.
member, as a member of the community, wish to, but again, you have to be very careful that the board and the Friends are separate entities. So a board member cannot be one of, or should not be one of the officers of the
Right.
Friends. That needs to be kept very separate.
You're a member of the board, but you're also a member of the community.
And as a member of the board, I don't believe I have the right to participate.
You can
An
be,
officer.
Yeah.
you can be a member of the Friends, and in many places it's encouraged, but you cannot be one of the officers. And sort of the expectation is that when you are one of the people trying to organize the Friends, that you are going to be one of the people who will be
Yeah, I
one of
don't
the
think
first
it's right
officers.
there. Like, I
Um,
would feel comfortable.
So if you know someone and you want to kind of give them a little nudge, that would be great. But it's a matter of getting that ball rolling without being the ones to do it directly.
So most of this at this point is sort of either word of mouth or
Yep.
whatever. Is there any problem, legality, with sending a notice out via the press, like the River East or something, that the Douglas Library is hoping to create a new?
Well, again, it needs to not come from the library. So if a member of the community wished to send that out, that would be acceptable. But like if someone in the community wanted to write a letter to the editor and say, hey, I want to start this group, that would be fine. But like I cannot send a press release
Okay.
out saying, we, the library,
And we
are
shouldn't,
forming this group.
Right,
Okay.
and none of us should
Can
do
you
it.
give your list to one or two of the people that are on that list and let them?
They know,
pursue it?
yes, the people that I reached out to are aware of who's on that list, yes. So
So
we've
that answers
we've
my
already done that,
question.
yep.
You've done that, in other
Mhm.
words.
Yeah.
I guess within limits, the idea that I would have here is that I would want whoever's starting that to feel supported
Yes,
by
so,
this board, if at all possible. I understand the need for a difference, but in terms of like giving them some assistance and questions they may have about how do we do that, whether that
so
comes from you.
it would actually, the group that I would like to put them in touch with and have already told these individuals that is the Friends of Connecticut Libraries. So that's really their role. They are the state organization for Friends groups, so they are the ones that know how should your bylaws work? How do you start a Friends
Okay,
group?
good.
What are the legal
That's what I
requirements?
was
All of that.
thinking,
So Focal is the group that
Okay,
we really need
good,
to
so
put them
there
in
is
touch
an
with.
organization. in place
Yes,
that
there
can
very
help.
much is.
Is the, I don't know his name, tall guy, walks around town, lives locally.
Dennis. I don't know his
Yeah.
last name. First name's Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis, yes.
Yeah, he was part of the
Is he on the
original-
list?
I don't believe so.
He
Because
was,
he would be interested.
But as I said, we need,
maybe, but he was part of the Friends group that left.
So,
And
He was actually on the board,
yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, maybe he is interested in starting again, but makes me a little concerned that,
but as I said, if anyone on this board knows a member of the
Yeah.
community that would be willing, I can put them in touch with Focal to do that. But the library itself and the board cannot be the ones to, it's supposed to be an independent,
Right.
supportive but independent group.
okay, thank you. And I have one other item, but I'll refer if someone else has something they'd like to offer under other business.
Well, I just had another question that should have come up earlier, but last month we had talked about offering like tech support.
Mhm.
Has that been publicized? You're gonna publicize that?
I sent something to the River East and the Chronicle. I don't
Oh.
believe it's been printed, but I mean, I can send all I want. I don't have
I
any
know,
control
it
over
doesn't
what they
mean that
print.
they're gonna-
Has it been on the newsletter?
I believe it's in the newsletter or is going in the next one. I can't remember which. I don't remember where we
Well,
are in the
you
process.
included it right here, right?
So after talking to a couple of our teens who come in and so on, right now my plan is to, once school starts up in the fall, to publicize that we can use volunteers for this, that teen volunteers can do
Yeah,
this.
Yeah.
You know, it's certainly a service just today I was helping somebody logging into email, you know, something that people come into us regularly. But at the moment, if we're going to expand it or we're going to make it a regularly scheduled thing, I'll need volunteers to do that. So,
And that's something in the fall. you
yeah,
can get
exactly. In the
newsletter
fall,
and
once
stuff. Yep.
once RAM is back, you know, that the need for that drops off over the summer.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I think you could see a pretty clear example in Sue's earlier case that, you know, she's using one app in the realm of libraries selections, but not that familiar with other ones that she could find perhaps the same thing should you choose to, you know,
Well,
drop
I
the.
look, Kurt, believe me.
Yeah,
she was going to say she knows our apps pretty well.
Even though I went through the mini class
Yeah.
and really appreciated it, was very stimulated by it, I am ready for media
Oh, yeah.
class already. I just, it's a little
Anytime you want
overwhelming.
to, okay, well, maybe not anytime you want to come in. Don't come in at 8:00 on a Tuesday.
Right.
'Cause-
No,
but,
I mean,
um,
we've got to do a better job somehow, I feel, and I think part of the board's responsibility is to help with that, to make the public more aware of that. I don't know whether it's an article that we have with the River East where they sit down and do an interview with you, and you have the opportunity to expound upon the new side of the library's technology, if you will, that will enhance our patrons' capability of being able to gain more access to more things than they've ever realized before. And while some of it might be available on the internet that you can do a Google search to find, I think still there's a bit of you know, trust in what things the library puts out and feels are good, both for parents to children or parents to themselves or seniors that are just struggling with, I sit here all day and watch TV, but I could be doing something much better if I learned how to do something with the library's apps. And it seems like a big thing,
Well,
like a huge tree to get
I
your
will
arms
tell
around and
you
make
that
work.
so Overdrive, the Libby app, for example, about 5,000 items are checked out on that a month by Hebron users.
Oh,
So it
that's
is
good.
very well
That is
used,
good.
and a large part of the community is very aware of it. It's just that they are not the people who are coming into the library
Yeah.
because they are using it
At home,
at home.
yeah.
So our apps, Libby and our Palace project, which is a state thing, are very, very well used. You're just not necessarily seeing people use them, if that makes sense. But our circulation of ebooks and e-audio on certain apps is very good and is very steady.
Okay.
I think that falls in very nicely with our strategic plan.
Mhm.
Maybe the group that's in charge of that section of the strategic plan can serve as the initial committee, for lack of a better name, to look into that and see what we can do.
As like ambassadors, maybe? Or
Maybe.
what's available?
Yeah, they could, I'm not sure, but yeah,
Yeah.
something. But it fits into the strategic plan, we might as well take advantage of it. We've got it, let's use it.
Kirk, were you assigned to one of the 5 committees when you
No.
joined?
No.
Because that's what, I don't think there's been any update on that since, like, I was assigned to one when I joined. I want to say Emily was also, but we would need to check with her. But if you're not, and then we don't have Gail, we don't have Pat, like
Yeah.
there's definitely
I know
gaps
that
in the
since
committees.
like when Anne left the board,
Right.
Her
So who do we
committee.
have for water? How many do we have for each one?
I don't even know that. I
Well, we can
was.
check
That's
that
what I
right
mean.
now
Like you
with
and I are on integral.
I know, you and I.
Right.
are. Yeah.
And I'm on safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Review.
You're writing them down?
I'm
Okay.
writing them down.
I'm looking
You're
at
on
the strategic
welcoming.
plan, see if it says it.
Is
Um,
that what we're discussing now under evolving? Is that the committee under the strategic plan committee?
yes, so we have oversight, welcoming, integral, safe, and evolving are the 5 strategic
Right, but
plan
is
committees.
evolving the topic of helping to try to,
I don't know if that
Not
would be
necessarily.
integral because you're trying to make it an integral part of the community.
okay,
I got to bring my binder because it has descriptions of all of them.
Yeah.
okay.
So
There's one there.
we don't have to solve this right now, but this
Okay.
might be a good thing to put
Yeah.
on for next month.
Yeah.
I will bring my binder with me
Okay.
that when I joined that has like the strategic plan with the
Okay.
description of all the parts, and we
Okay.
can officially anyone that's not assigned to a group,
Okay.
just so then that way we at least have coverage.
Yeah, I like that.
When do we review that?
27. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was a 3-year.
This one went from 22.
they're usually
Or
5-year
5-year,
Okay.
plans.
And Kevin did that.
Right.
This is
Yes.
our second.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right. This is the one with the owl or whatever it is. Probably not an
Yes.
owl, what's it called?
Well, Meg, whatever one you end up finding is the right spot to help with, if to Drusilla's point, it's integral or whatever, I'd be happy to serve,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, I'll
I-
figure that out.
I'm a strong believer
What
that
was the tech?
in using whatever, and I don't know whether the town has this, whether we have like a public relations person or somebody that helps in that capacity, but the more publicity we can get out there about all the opportunities that there are, even though we do a weekly, through the River East, all the different events that are going, publish that, that's wonderful, but individual stories that, like I said earlier, maybe interviewing you and having you the chance for talking to someone of your staff, the children's librarian, or somebody that's just getting the word more and more out to people, that this is a pretty exciting place. And we have
Yeah,
lots
so
of
we
stuff.
send stuff, I send things fairly regularly to the River East and the Chronicle.
Yeah.
But
And
whether they
there's-
publish it is,
Right, but is
Without-
that I guess, and we can follow this up as part of that committee later, but, you know, I'd be willing to go down and sit with Mike, or Jim's not really involved in it that much anymore, but, and have a chat with them to see, you know, what can we do to, you know, get some of this stuff in the paper.
yeah.
Right.
Most
There's
of the
also-
stuff they have in the, is so same old, same old, same old, same
Right.
old. I wonder how many people are actually even just glazing over. it.
How many
There-
people
oh,
here look at the weekly,
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Donna
news
just
report.
mentioned
Oh,
the
I do
weekly
read. I was
town
gonna
manager
say
report.
I get the town manager
I mean,
report,
I don't, but that's another one that
We put something
and that's
in
always
every
linked.
week,
Yeah, library stuff is linked in there.
always in there.
you
Yeah.
get it.
It's definitely
Don't you?
strategic.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you saying, the Donovan?
So
The
there's
town
a
management report
Oh,
Can
the,
you
that
hear
goes
me
out
now?
weekly.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's-
the library, we are in there every week. I always
Okay.
send
Except
something.
Fridays,
Fridays.
Fridays.
Every Friday, yeah.
I just got my copy of the views. Are we in that as well?
Yep, we should be.
I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to read
There's
it.
an
That only
article.
comes
I
out though
put
like 4
something in-
times.
I put something in Hebron Views every time it comes up. I put
Okay.
something in the weekly town manager
Good.
report every week.
Well,
But the view's coming out only once every
It's
3
quarter,
months.
Right.
Yeah, and that is interesting because so for the Hebron Views, it just came out, but I had to get my article in 2 months ago.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So it's really hard to there may be something that's like time sensitive, and
Right.
so it's trying to
It
figure
has
out
to be
what.
special articles.
Yes, yeah.
Drusilla, who wrote the article in this month's news
What the
about the library?
Hebron Views?
Yeah.
I did.
How do I know that as a reader? You didn't sign it.
I send it to the town and the town puts it all in. Yeah.
What
I've never
bothers me
signed
is
anything that I've written.
Yeah.
From the Historical Society. Wouldn't it be nice to know who the author is?
Yeah,
Well, you
no,
know
that's
who
not.
does always sign? Frank Zickus,
Yes.
when he does anything.
Yes, Frank always has.
Sign it
Yes.
next time.
But
Oh, well, I
never
mean, but
have.
it's not up to me
We wanna
what,
promote
like,
you.
No, I-
the
I understand-
signature isn't my,
I
whether that's in
understand
there or
that,
not is not
but-
in there.
And the point isn't to embarrass you. The point is, gee, I wonder who.
She
wrote this.
auto
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah, like it's because it comes from my account and goes to actually Donna collected everything this last time. Like
I'm just very happy that we're
it's a
gonna,
copy
that we're
paste.
talking about this and that it's under my watch. I want to continue to talk about this. I
Right.
just think this is probably as much, in my mind, one of the most important areas. I mean, we all have to take care of our building, we have to take care of our staff, but most of that is helpful by the town. This board has an opportunity to really promote some of the things that are happening here, I think, and I'd like to
To
see,
publicize.
yeah, as much as possible,
Yeah.
getting out there and letting folks know. So thank you for indulging that, and thank you for contributing, getting it started. That was my second. I had to talk about that. So I'm going to kind of, is there anything that any of the strategic plans, plan committees have to report? Oversight? Hearing none, moving on to welcoming.
I think the posters and, the whiteboard coming in with everything that's going on for the week.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah,
And
those are great.
also just, the staff is very welcoming and helpful. I'm always very, I receive very warm comments about staff.
Good. Thank you for that, Dale.
Look what I just found.
Okay, good.
The people on the committee,
Get back to either Priscilla or Meg,
only if I can get it back.
or make a copy of it or whatever. So,
How old is that?
I beg your pardon.
Sherry Wood is on the SAFE committee and Kevin Sullivan is on Evolving, so it's old.
That page is that, yes.
Yeah.
That was when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcoming Dale,
Any- so that's,
Emily.
thank you, Dale, for your report from the welcoming planning committee. Integral.
I had messaged Drusilla about this, so I got so we had the issue earlier in the year with Hebron Board of Ed saying, oh, the library can't put anything in the newsletter that goes home to
Right,
parents because like if we let you in, we have to let everyone in, and the argument that some of us were making was this is a town thing. This isn't like some random, event. This is so I took the Region 8 policy regarding what they accept for publications, which is much more open than the Hebron one. So I downloaded the Hebron one, I downloaded the Region 8 one. I sent both to Drusilla, and I also sent both to Nikki Matthews, who's on the Hebron Board of Education, and she brought it up at one of the meetings, and I think they did make at least a little bit of a change in that the library, there was library stuff that was handed out to students at both Hebron L and Gilead. So I'm hoping that the summer reading
so
flyers.
hopefully,
So I'm hoping that
we'll hope that continues.
we've
Yeah.
now, maybe like broken the dam a little bit. So now maybe that will be a smoother sailing next year. Like it's a town entity. This isn't like a random nonprofit that, oh, well, if we let them in, we have to let everyone. Like this is town stuff. So that is my update. Hopefully that continues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And for the broader area, this is probably stupid, but the yard looks really nice now.
It
Right,
does.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
You're,
think that's
yep.
welcoming and that.
Uh-huh.
fits in
So
there.
yeah, so
It is.
Lita and I were out there weeding and trimming and whatever, and then Public Works arranged the mulch. All of the buildings in town, I guess, got done. And I don't know what company they used for mulch, but they did an excellent job. So I've already reached
You don't
out to.
think they use their own mulch?
No.
No,
It was a landscape.
it's a landscape
Oh.
company they arrange, and they brought a crew in, and the guys are really good. So I've already reached out to Craig to tell him that I don't know who he used, but use
Good
them
job.
again because they did a phenomenal
We
job.
have to keep track of one tree. It's the end tree right there in the divider, and it looks 95% dead.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on some of them.
It's got a little life, and
Yeah.
maybe we can just cut it off and it'll sprout, but
But yeah, the
Ground.
spending a day out there weeding, and then like I said, the company, the landscapers that came in, I don't know what company they were from, but they were really good. So like I said, I've already passed on to Craig that I don't know who he used, but we appreciate it.
When I first joined the Library Association, one of the major complaints seemed to be the way the building looked. And the town stepped in and did some great things, and their landscaping people have done some great, this place looks like 100% better
of course it
than
was
it did,
walled off
whatever,
for
a year and a
how
half or
many
2 years
months?
ago.
Was it fenced off and everything got out of control then?
And even to take the ride down behind the the library, and then look back at where the new path and the bridge is. Very picturesque.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not just a bridge. I mean, it really has been done with a real, good perspective. So I think we're really blessed to have,
Good money.
the crew and the work that's gone into.
It's worth
really
it,
fixing
yeah.
this place up, so. All right, thank you from the Integral Committee, Safety Committee.
Sue and I do not have any
Okay.
issues.
And Evolving, is anyone on the Evolving?
We, that was Gail and Ann Danaher, so that is no one.
Okay, so we'll work on that.
Will.
So that was-
Oversight and Evolving do not have anyone.
Okay,
on
and you've
that.
already,
So which would
So
you
Kirk
like?
was-
I think, Kirk, I think you're on Evolving. I think that's where we're putting you.
Yes.
Evolving sounds good.
Yep.
All right, Kirk is now on Evolving. There we go.
And you indicated for next meeting that we're going to address this and fill this with the rest of the people that are unassigned, if there are.
I
I
think that's
believe
everyone.
everybody else is assigned based on the list that Peter gave me.
Okay, well, in
Yep.
that case,
Um,
then we perhaps don't need to do that, but, yeah, thank you for that, all of you. So I believe that brings us to the end, unless somebody has anything else for the pleasure of the board.
I
Are we
so
gonna
move
take the
that we,
summer off?
What is the tradition? You've taken me, I haven't been a full year on this board, so I don't know.
I
what
just kind of
No, we're
thought I'd
supposed
throw
to
it
have
out.
11 meetings a year.
Oh,
I was gonna say we're
Stop,
supposed to,
Peter.
Do you have
yeah.
a suggestion?
I think
Are you
last,
taking vacation
last,
on one of the Mondays that we're?
I am not taking vacation on a Monday that we're supposed to be meeting.
Donna,
I
are
don't
you
think.
taking a vacation on the Mondays that we?
Oh, are we talking about, is there usually
Well,
a,
there's.
Well, so I
I'm hearing
remember
there's 11
last
meetings
year,
required, so we
Okay.
could take one off,
last
like July or
year,
August.
I
Right.
remember the comment that because was it last year? Because I hadn't been here a full year yet. I think it was Pat said, well, you haven't been here a full year yet, so we'll just keep going. But I don't know what the tradition has been before
Yes,
that,
we're
so.
we're
Right.
supposed to have 11
Mm-hmm.
meetings per year.
Well,
so are you positing that we skip July and then,
no, I'm actually thinking more that we would do July.
We
'cause
should meet
We
every
just
July.
filled a
July is
pretty
the
good agenda
beginning,
for next
and
meeting.
We
July
do
is
have
the
a lot of
beginning of the
stuff, and we've got
fiscal
a little
year.
yeah,
momentum.
that's right, and that would be,
So-
what are we, the second?
I would say the
But-
second, the August meeting,
it might be.
So which one do you want to let go?
August.
Because we have several things ready to follow up on.
Well, like I said,
Right.
July is the beginning of the fiscal year,
So
so
that's a good one.
That's a
for us
good
to
one.
that's a
meet.
good one to
Yeah.
meet. I don't
Oh, yeah,
expect anything dramatic to happen with the beginning of the fiscal year necessarily,
But
but
you'll have a new
it's-
budget to present.
Yep.
Right.
don't you? I imagine.
well, yeah, it'll be as voted on by the,
No, that's
Right, but, oh,
That's already in.
that's
place
already in
anyway.
play, yeah, that's
Right.
been.
for us to be able to look at, see where.
Right,
I
the
can give you the
official-
binder from the town budget hearings, it's upstairs.
Okay.
So that would be,
Yeah,
the next
that's-
meeting would be July 14th.
July 14th.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right,
do we
I
need
would
a-
just
Steel
like to
Day.
say that
Oh, we
I
can have a
believe we should meet
rip-roar.
every month.
Okay.
If there's some month where there's absolutely nothing to discuss, then
Right,
cancel the meeting.
Well, how about if we wait and see how
Or
we
if
do in
there's
July, and
weather,
then we can decide if
during
August
the
is an
winter, a
option.
few times we
I think
canceled
Sue's
it
right.
because of
Just
weather.
I think we
go.
canceled in December of this year, I
Well,
want to
we didn't
say.
have a quorum.
We didn't have a quorum, maybe
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Actually, that's true, we've already
Which
missed
never
one
used to happen.
Right.
in 2025 because we didn't get a
Yeah.
quorum, so we're already.
I mean, we
Okay.
are
That's the
a
best way
board, we
anyway.
do have business to conduct.
Right,
We should meet every month.
Okay.
right.
That's my feeling.
Anybody object to that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So,
We have a person waiting. She hasn't had an opportunity to say anything.
Dale said some things.
Well, I'm
Gail,
just
did you have
making that
something?
up.
I was just making a motion to, we adjourn.
a motion, okay, the motion has been made to adjourn.
I'll
Go to
second.
Make seconds. Gail made the motion and make seconds. All those in favor? Once again, it's unanimous, so we don't need to break the vote down.
All right.
Oh, can you imagine to adjourn and we call each name?
Yeah, we'd be here for another